Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Epic Geek Out, the only show on the internet that feels like warm apple pie. I'm your host Chad.
And I'm your host Rob, and today we will be reviewing the new movie American Reunion.
Excited about it. Also, we're going to do an epic extra on Wednesday, tomorrow, for the Game of Thrones premiere, which we saw, actually premiere and second episode.
We'll
talk about both those episodes. And then on Thursday, we are going to be diving into another movie that's just come out in theaters and also video on demand from Morgan Spurlock, the guy who did Super Size Me. Love that.
Which I haven't seen because I love my fast food.
Yeah. Well, it made me hungry when I watched it. Yeah. But it's called Comic-Con Episode 4, A New Hope.
And like always, please follow us on...
Is it a Fans Hope? It might be a
Fans Hope. I think it's Fans Hope.
Screwed that up, but that's
It's fine. It's only a documentary. But like always, follow us on Twitter at Epic Geek Out and keep those emails coming in to fans@epicgeekout.com.
Yep, subscribe to our YouTube channel and look us up over at Facebook, friend us, like us, whatever we got over there. Well, we would appreciate that. So let's get into our review of American Reunion.
So we just got back from seeing the 82nd installment of the American Pie series.
I think it's the 8th, actually.
But actually only like the second or third one with the entire fourth one, but with the entire returning
yeah, the third one missed.
Stars Jason Biggs, plural?
Biggs, yeah.
Allison Hannigan, Chris Klein, Sean William Scott, and the whole crew from the first movie. It's basically it's their reunion. It's their I think they wanted to do this 10 years after the first one, but they missed a couple years, and it's their 13th.
So they made a joke.
Yeah, they made a joke out of it in the movie, and it's really it's the gang going back to their hometown, seeing some of their old lovers, their their current wives coming back, and it's just the shenanigans they're getting into. But now the hangover hurts a little more because they're older. Yeah. So, Chad, what do you think of the movie?
All right, well, I have a deep love for this series. Like, it's something that, like, everyone's brought up with that, like, film that kind of defines a time period in your life. I mean, I have a couple films like that, like Hangover recently for college, kind of defined that. But this is kind of that for me. It was like the first sort of R-rated movie that I wasn't allowed to watch, but I snuck and saw it anyway.
There's Something About Mary for me.
Yeah, well, that was also a good one around the same time period. But yeah, so I kind of, like, have a real nostalgic feel for this movie.
An affection for the characters.
Yeah,
if you
exactly. And I always kind of like the movie. It's humor, but also has a little bit of a message about getting older, growing up.
The first one, right?
The first and second, they kind of all have a different stage of life.
Which
message.
I didn't realize, just a quick, like, I just rewatched the first one because I really didn't remember it, and it was a lot more sentimental than I remembered it being. Yeah. Maybe because I knew the gags that were coming up because they stuck in my memory, but it was a lot, it was,
it's like the sex jokes, but then, like, the first one's kind of about high school and your group of friends. Then the second one's about college and like going back to high school. And then the third one's about getting married. This one obviously about reuniting with those friends. So I kind of love the movie. It just felt familiar. It felt comfortable. It just felt like a humor that was missing since the last American Wedding or whatever. Like that humor is so specific for me because it combines a lot of things. It just felt like the gang's back together. I felt like I'd been hanging out with them for all these years since the last movie. It's just a love kind of relationship with that. As a movie standalone, I thought it was really funny. A lot of stuff was in the trailers, which is what I was a little bit worried about, which is why I tried to sort of not watch them, but then I was excited, so I did watch them. But they did manage to sneak a couple little gags in there that I didn't see coming. Definitely laughed a lot. I wish we would have kind of had a fuller theater. Our theater was kind of empty.
Yep, it goes to the whole viewing experience. Yeah, it does matter.
Because you play off that, but I was crying at points because I was laughing so hard, so my eyes kind of still hurt. But yeah, and then there's always that sweet moment where you're like, oh, that's so true. And like we're getting older now. This is kind of our age. They're about 5 years older than us, but it kind of has that feeling of this is kind of where we're at. People are kind of going their separate ways, so it's like coming back together. I just love it. I think it's
and you really like the soundtrack too, right?
Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me. They did pack in some of the songs from the original movie, like in moments where they would have been like between two characters, and then it was like the '90s songs that we all
some new
love.
ones like "Sexy and I Know."
Yeah. But that like in opportune times.
Yeah.
And like it had the '90s stuff in there, so it just brought me back to that, and it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. Like I said, I revisited the first movie just last night. Just wanted check in, because I forgot a bunch of the characters. And this focuses on, like, the core group of friends and some of the other people, that are in the first movie. Well, actually, everyone who's in the first movie really at all is in this movie for at least a moment or so. But they all worked, I think. And they even gave some minor characters some nice little storylines. And I think what this movie did well is it balanced the storylines for all the characters.
Yeah.
I mean...
Because you don't know what a lot of them were doing in the time period, and they kind of managed in the first 15 minutes to kind of touch on every character a little bit.
And like Stifler's character, he's walking in an office, and it gives you the assumption, or at least I assume that he was
the boss.
He was the boss, and then you find out that there's this dorky, very Aziz Ansari. I think they probably offered him the role, and he said, "Nah, I'm bigger than that." Yeah. And they got some knockoff guy to do it. But it was good. It was. I laughed a lot. There were the funny moments in the trailer that we saw, but even re-seeing them in the context of the film, I thought was nice. Because you got more of an understanding for it. They even make a joke because Chris Klein wasn't in the American Wedding. Yeah, I guess.
Like I missed your wedding.
I missed your wedding. I wouldn't miss this.
Yeah.
Of course he wouldn't because it's a movie.
Yeah.
We're all for him. But I believe in movie magic again. They made Tara Reid look actually attractive, which hasn't happened since 1999 in the original. So it was a very enjoyable, good comedy. Jokes all throughout, but a couple kind of. It's very situational humor, I think.
Yeah, it's the awkward.
It's the big situations that they get into.
It's like an action movie, like the set piece moments, but it's like a comedy version of that. Like they have the first one's like the filming moment on the internet, and then those different moments, and they all kind of have those moments of
exactly, and it's like it's built around that, and kind of it's like waiting to them with some jokes like dispersed like in between. So it was good, and it is nice to see these characters again, even though I don't think I had the same like love of the series as you do, but it was definitely enjoyable.
Did it feel old to you? Like I felt like parts. I mean, I loved it just because I love the characters, but like parts of it seemed like it could feel a little like old, like they were in these situations that like why are they in these situations? Because they're
Well, they had to put them in the situations to make it somewhat similar to an American, because they couldn't depart so much from.
But it just felt wrong at some parts, I guess.
Yeah, because they are older. He wakes up in the morning,
and they do make a joke about it, I guess, that they are older and like. But we sense that now, like when we go out to the bars and we live in a college town, so all the bars are filled with college kids, and I mean we're not
they're dealing with high school kids.
We're not that far removed from college, but
definitely an age difference for them.
Even from 25 to 21 or so, like we feel that.
And this goes back to like 21 Jump Street, the revisiting high school.
Right. Yeah.
This wasn't them, going back to bust a drug ring in high school like 21 Jump Street, but it was them literally returning to their high school because their reunion took place in the high school. And
it made me sad though, because I know like my high school would never, like I would hang out with like all those friends when I went back to high school. I have a couple friends that I would see, but
yeah, I see the friends that I want to see.
They all seem very close,
Yeah, well, I actually disagree with that.
I guess not the little side characters they brought in.
Well, not even that. They talked about how
they grew apart
in the beginning when he makes the first phone call, he says, "Oh, you're busy," because you can sense that they also grew apart, but they wanted to come back and relive, their high school fun and stuff like that. So, it's a comedy. I laughed, so I think that.
That's the goal of every
That
comedy.
Is the goal of a comedy.
More than a couple times you laughed. So
I laughed like the right amount to make the comedy worth going to see. This isn't going to go down in the history as like Hangover or other movies that are near and dear to my heart in comedy, and I think really changed things up. But like, it was very enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I'd recommend seeing it if you have a love affair with the characters. Definitely go see it.
I mean, it's almost like a fan's wet dream, so to speak, in terms of American Pie. Like, if you like the series, if you like the characters, it gives you everything that you possibly want.
And here's the thing also that needs to be said is you've also aged with the characters.
Exactly. Yeah.
The writers, when they wrote this, they weren't writing it for, the people who went and saw Project X in high school. They were writing it for our demographic, the ones who have experienced the movie in its original form, and really writing it to give you those those sentimental feelings,
nostalgia,
and the nostalgic feelings. So I think it was an overall successful movie in what it set out to do. I laughed multiple times throughout, enjoyed it. The characters were likable. The ending I thought was good, very good. Which they brought not to give anything away, but they brought a lot of like characters back at the end,
Yeah,
and added one really funny part. It's like a returning joke. They had a couple moments where they brought back jokes that didn't work well. I thought that seemed forced and like kind of things. But overall, I liked the end, and I was wondering how they were gonna
tie it all together.
Yes, summarize.
I just love
it.
that they always leave the movies in like a message. It's like the second movie was
I thought
like,
you were gonna say open to a sequel.
No,
but.
we'll never grow apart. Like a feel
Sure.
good thing.
Yeah,
it warmed my heart. It really did.
So definitely check it out.
Yeah, I definitely go see it.
But if you haven't seen the first in a while, I'd say maybe watch that.
I think that there's still jokes to be laughed at if you haven't seen them, but it definitely is far more effective if you know the characters and you have that going into it. But
Absolutely.
Check it out, awesome movie.
And like always, it's our time to give our thanks. So Chad, what are you thankful for today?
Today, in honor of the massive release of the new Titanic 3D and the anniversary of it.
You're thankful for Celine Dion.
Yeah. How did you guess? No, I want to just give a thanks to James Cameron, a very influential director.
And Scuba Diver recently.
Scuba Diver. I just really, I think he constantly pushes the envelope forward, especially with the Avatar. As love or hate the movie, I mean, I don't like it as much as I did when I first saw it. Definitely what he did with 3D in that is an amazing feat. He just constantly pushes that envelope. I love True Lies. Great movie. It's a funny action comedy. I watch it when it's on TV. He just constantly
the first
is that
Piranha,
guy.
right?
Yeah,
the original Piranha or original remake of Piranha, whatever that is.
Yeah, and even the new Titanic redoing it in 3D, he is kind of doing it.
He did it right. He showed people what to do.
I mean, it is he spent a lot of money on it, but he's showing people that it can be effective. I just think that he deserves a little bit of gratitude from Epic Geek Out for all he's done for cinema.
Because there's millions and millions of dollars are thankful for.
That's true. All right, well, thanks, James Cameron. What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for a movie I recently saw. It was up for Best Picture last year. It's currently on Stars, if you have Stars, which it's kind of a new release to be on it. I wouldn't say I am a big fan of Woody Allen by any stretch of the imagination, but I really enjoyed his last movie, Midnight in Paris. Just kind of a magical little movie. It was, it just was really good. I don't want to, if you don't know anything about it, just watch it, because I'm really happy I didn't know much about the movie going into it, because it really just, it was different, unique, and, it's not a long movie, so you can, just sit down, watch it real quick, and, but just really actually made me want to go to Paris, which I can't say I ever felt before, just to see the town, because it really captured the spirit of over there, I think.
More of a city, but yeah.
What did I say?
Town.
Town, yeah, the little town of Paris.
The little tiny little town.
Yeah, it's not that big. But, just catch it if you can. Rent it from Redbox, like I said before. Great little system they got going there. But if you get Stars, it is on demand.
I haven't seen it, but I'll definitely need to watch it.
Yeah, it's a sweet little movie. So, if you're looking for, not a big action set piece movie, or, this has some very good comedic moments with Owen Wilson in the lead. Rachel McAdams is in it, who, if you're watching this for some odd reason, marry me, please. But yeah, just watch. It's a really good movie. So that is what I'm thankful for today.
Very cool. Well, thanks for watching this episode of Epic Geek Out. We'll be back tomorrow with an Epic Extra talking about Game of Thrones. We need to come up with a theme song for that. And Thursday, we will be back with a Fan's Hope, the Morgan Spurlock documentary on Comic-Con. Until then, take care, and thanks for watching this episode of Epic Geek Out.